Mitt Romney's Big Bird comments could mean trouble for PBS stations.
Convicted killer Ryan Ferguson's fight for a new trial is denied.
Hundreds of sex offenders living in Boone County, how one Missouri law is helping to keep your kids from happening upon their home on Halloween. KMU 8 News at 9 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News at 9.
There are nearly 300 sex offenders living in Boone County. That's a scary statistic for parents whose kids are out trick-or-treating tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Jennifer Long. A Missouri law is helping to ease parents' concerns. Sex offenders registered after August 28, 2008 must abide by certain Halloween rules. The rules include no Halloween contact with kids. They must post a sign at their home stating no candy or treats at this residence. They must remain inside between 5 and 10:30 at night and leave all outdoor lighting turned off. KMU 8's Dan Kennedy talked with one Columbia mom living near a sex offender about her Halloween rules.
I'm live on Longfellow Lane in Columbia, the site of a very festive Halloween house. Now, these sex offenders, they are easy to find. In fact, I printed off 19 mugshots of offenders who've been registered in Boone County since 2008. I dropped by one of their homes this evening, and I can tell you, I didn't see one of those no candy signs that they're supposed to have on their front porch. But in that same neighborhood in West Broadway, I did speak with one woman, Sherry Rodeker, as she prepared her 3 daughters for trick-or-treating. Now, she was unaware of that sex offender living just a few doors down, but she said she takes extra precaution on Halloween night. Her kids only trick-or-treat on her street, and she accompanies them every year.
It's kind of nice to know if there's a sex offender in the neighborhood, just because not only for Halloween, but for future, making sure the kids are steering clear.
Again, the rule for the next hour and a half or so, sex offenders must stay inside with their porch lights off, and they're supposed to have that no candy sign available here on their front door or somewhere visible. Now, if you are interested in knowing where sex offenders live nearby you, I have posted a link to the sex offender registry on our website, KOMU.com. Reporting live from Longfellow Lane in Columbia, I'm Dan Kennedy, KOMU 8 News.
Well, weather-wise, we're enjoying some pretty mild conditions in mid-Missouri and probably will for the next day or so. What is left of Sandy is causing just a bit of a rain-snow mix presently in portions of central Pennsylvania. That's about it. We'll head out west. That's going to be our next weather maker. Could bring us a bit of rain by Friday night into the day on Saturday. But right now we are clear and completely high and dry with that radar scan. Nothing going on. We'll have a look at the forecast coming up on KOMU 8 News at 9.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Special Target 8 investigation tonight on KOMU 8 News at 10.
We're taking a closer look at a situation out of Montgomery County where residents say a man is taking pictures of their children playing in their own front yards, and it's starting to cause unrest among parents. KOMU 8's Addison Walton joins us with a preview.
Thanks, Jennifer. I spoke with many parents in Jonesburg, a small town in Montgomery County, who say they're scared for their children's safety. Some won't let their kids walk to school or even play in the front yard in fear Mike Hutcherson will snap a picture. But what are local police able to do about it?
There's nothing we can do, unfortunately, until there's a law broken, and then, we'll take proper action.
Tonight you'll hear more from Chief Sinclair, and concerned parents should also get a deeper look into just how residents say this man terrorizes the small town of Jonesburg. That's all in tonight's Target 8 investigation on KOMU 8 News at 10.
Thanks, Addison. We look forward to that. On the day before the 11th anniversary of Kent Heitholz's murder, a Cole County judge denied convicted killer Ryan Ferguson a new trial. A jury convicted Ferguson of second-degree murder in 2005 for the strangulation death of a Columbia Tribune sports editor. This denied appeal came after 2 witnesses for the prosecution recanted their statements in April. Both Charles Erickson and Jerry Trump testified against Ferguson in 2005, but have now changed their stories about Ferguson's involvement. Judge Green addressed both of their statements in his ruling. Green wrote, "This court finds the recantation of Erickson to be not credible and false." Green also said he did find Trump's recantation credible, but that it did not undermine this court's confidence in the correctness of the original jury trial verdict and judgment.
Well, what gives me hope is the testimony and the evidence. First of all, there is no evidence. and the only two witnesses have admitted to perjury. I mean, what is there left?
Ferguson's father says he is already in the process of appealing.
As the presidential election draws near, we look back at the first debate and all of the attention focused on one big bird. KOMU 8's Anthony Martinez explains how PBS stations are fearful this election.
Thank you, Jim. Romney's Big Bird remarks came off as playful to some, but to one local PBS station, their quote, Big Bird doesn't answer for the big burden they could be facing after this election.
Zingers are everywhere online. Type Romney Big Bird on Google's search engine, find a video, click play, and wait for the governor's punchline.
I'm going to stop the subsidy to PBS. I'm going to stop other things. I like PBS. I love Big Bird. Actually, like you, too.
But in Warrensburg, those words threaten KMOS. It's said to be the University of Central Missouri's best-kept secret. But inside the station, officials say the only secret worth telling is that federal dollars are already being pinched.
This is not anything new. Every year, we deal with this threat to PBS, to public broadcasting funding.
Like Warrensburg, PBS stations in rural communities often require more grant money for community service. But Director Ollis says that larger grants still do not offset the federal budget.
It's such a small amount in the grand scheme of things.
For local PBS stations across the United States, on average, close to 15% of the entire station budget actually comes from federal dollars. That's 1/100th of 1% of the entire federal budget. In other words, for every $100 spent, exactly 1 penny goes to PBS each year.
I've been a Republican all my life.
Romney supporters are saying the governor's mainstream remarks aren't a threat. Money is slim, and so stations should look elsewhere.
I think there's plenty of opportunity here. I think this should not be looked at as a threat by these stations, but as an opportunity, as a way of finding out how to redefine themselves.
We will lose some of our public broadcasting stations by virtue of the fact that they cannot afford to operate if they lose that federal funding.
Regardless of the election outcome, KMOS is already in line to get a money upgrade for studio equipment, and that's coming up from a previous USDA grant. Thanks.
New Jersey drivers are seeing pain at the pump, and we're not talking about prices.
And hospital evacuations after backup generators were not enough. KMU 8's Luke Liddon has the latest on Hurricane Sandy and tonight's Worldview.
Thank you, guys. And first off, we're going to head over to New Jersey because it's a common sight after a bad storm strikes. Long lines at the pump as drivers try to fuel up. This was the scene today in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. Many gas stations in the area are closed, and the ones that are open are attracting plenty of attention. On the Garden State Parkway scene here, motorists are backed up for miles. The wait at some gas stations is up to an hour, if not longer. State troopers have been on hand to keep an eye on traffic and to keep the peace. And off to New York City, right next door, because the New York City hospital is being evacuated. About 500 patients of Bellevue Hospital are being taken by ambulance to other hospitals in the area. Bellevue has been operating on backup generators since Sandy struck, but officials now say equipment and a laboratory in the hospital were too heavily damaged by flooding. Mayor Michael Bloomberg says 17 million gallons of floodwater poured into the hospital. And last but not least, there are a bunch of unhappy cruise passengers in Boston today due to Hurricane Sandy. The Caribbean Princess departed from New York City Saturday and was supposed to go to Bermuda. But after Sandy struck the ship, it diverted to Boston instead as a way to avoid the storm. The passengers were given the choice of whether to take the ship back to New York or try to return on their own from Boston, which is where the ship waited out the storm.
Maybe. Weather-wise, we've got a really nice 1st of November to look forward to. Got some details coming up next on KOMU 8 News at 9.
Happy Halloween, everybody. A big thanks to all the viewers who sent in pictures of their pets dressed up to impress for the holiday. We have Kate the cat, Hank the pug, and finally Zorro.
We also have a caterpillar right here on set. See? This is a for real caterpillar. See? See? It's right there.
Hey, little guy.
This is Stubbs. He's part of the KOMU 8 family, and he's just hanging out on Halloween. You want a little treat there, Stubbs? Yep.
He's excited to be here with
Stubbs
everybody.
Stubbs is not a part of the pet corner, right, Dave?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He's not up for adoption.
Nice night for trick-or-treating, Dave.
That it is. Trick-or-treating should be over with by now, but we've got mild conditions this evening, getting down to about 40 degrees, 38 maybe tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow looks really good with a high in the upper 60s.
Remember, you can always go to KOMU.com 24/7 for the latest news, weather, and sports. He really is a caterpillar. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know if Stubbs is going to be going out trick-or-treating. He's got all the treats he needs here.
Right here. There we go.
We'll see you back at 10 for that Target 8 investigation.
Yeah.